Cool. So, welcome again to our April 2024 State TA Day. So we just had Julio come on and introduce himself as the new production design team manager, and we are super excited to have him as our main person to be facilitating all the training materials that are ultimately delivered out to you and to programs. So we're so excited to have him on board here. Um, all right, Bonnie, you're on, right?
Yes, I
Hello.
am here. Hello. So I'm going to share my screen. Bear with me. I'm not great at this. Here we go. All right. So, hello. If I have not met you before, my name's Bonnie Rouse Caputo. I'm the Stimulus Grants Manager here at the department. And today I am filling in for Christy Ressler, who is our Stabilization Grants Manager. I wanted to update everyone. We had 4 grants open up, as I'm sure many of you remember, on March 15th. The applications for those closed last Friday. So actually, it was a week from Friday on the 12th. And so I just wanted to kind of share some numbers with you guys, let you know when providers should expect payments. So starting out with our stabilization and new provider success spring bonus, as a reminder, all providers that received either the stabilization or new provider success grants, these were in 2022. The payments went through September of 2023. We received additional funding from the legislature last fall, and we're just able to get these out. So 73% of eligible providers actually applied for this grant and are going to receive it. Family child care homes are going to receive $5,427.40. It's very specific. And then centers will be receiving that $7,023 payment. These payments are all scheduled to be going out at the end of April. So the next grant that I'm going to talk about quickly were our health and mental health grants. I know Christy talked about these before. We opened this application and closed it within a couple of days. And looking back at the timestamp, we actually allocated the total amount of funding for this grant in 6 hours, which was pretty incredible. So we had 366 unique awardees. Payments ranged from $250 for a CCAP qualified exempt provider all the way up to that $17,000. And those were for providers that served 150 or more children. The payments for these are also scheduled to go out at the end of this month, so next week. Next up is our licensing incentive bonus. So this was for newly licensed providers that were able to receive a bonus. We also tried to capture any providers that didn't receive the licensing incentive bonus when it was open previously. So we had 349 eligible providers apply, which is 62% of applicants. The payments are $5,000 for each childcare center or family childcare home. And then a $500 payment was available for CCAP qualified exempt providers. Just like the other 2 payments for these grants are going out at the end of the month or sometime next week. So finally, our capacity building grants. So these, there were capacity building grants that were associated with the Universal Preschool Program. There were 2 rounds of those. This is an additional round that we opened up to all providers. So we had 2,660 applicants. And because we had such an overwhelming response, we've decided to really take our time going through these. We're prioritizing providers that did not receive a prior capacity building grant through the Universal Preschool Program. And so because of that, there's going to be a slight delay. Payments are going to be scheduled to go out on May 15th rather than at the end of this month. And we're going to be communicating that to providers in the next few days, but I wanted to make sure you all were aware. So if they're reaching out to you, you know that those will be delayed. You can explain to them why, that we're still reviewing applications, but they should be hearing something soon. Okay, so I have a question. Do you have a breakdown on how many of the new homes are licensed and how many are CCAP exempt? I don't have a breakdown. The number of CCAP exempt providers we have is relatively small. I know there were a few, I believe it was 5 was the last number I heard, but don't quote me on that. It could have changed. But it primarily would be those family child care homes. And so that was all that I had. I promised I would only take 5 minutes. I've provided my contact information as well as Christy Ressler, who is the grant manager. And we're happy to answer those questions as they come through. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for having us. Yeah, Lisa.
Thanks, Bonnie. You know, in the last couple of days, I've received a communication from a newly licensed family child care program, as well as a communication that regards a QE provider, a new QE provider, both of them. And their reaction to the email and the application was it felt too concerning to them, so they didn't respond quickly enough. So I don't know. I've suggested they go ahead and reach out to Metrics IQ, but any sense on whether or not these brand new people to the system, which is, I think, is the biggest issue here, might have any chance.
Yeah, and I apologize. My dogs know when I'm on meetings. So my suggestion would be for the licensing incentive bonuses, they need to reach out to Metrics right now. But for everything else, because I believe we could extend that through the end of the day today, if absolutely needed. But for any other of the grant programs, the application is closed, which is a bummer. But yeah, if they can reach out like this afternoon, we might be able to get them those licensing incentive bonuses.
Okay, I've already suggested they reach out, so I'm hoping that they do that.
Okay.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
Is there anything else? All right. Well, thank you guys again. And Charlie, I will turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Bonnie. Really appreciate it. And yeah, if any questions come up, you guys know who to reach out to. Leah Grossman. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. I am here to give you the EQ initiatives update. We don't have a ton right now, so let me just get my screen ready so I can share with you. We do our biggest thing that we have going on right now is getting ready for our EQ annual statewide meeting. Okay, see, it's a good thing I've got slides to keep me on track. We are quickly approaching the end of April. That is next Tuesday. And so all quarterly reports will be due next Tuesday, April 30th. You can click on this link in the slides and it'll take you right to that quarterly report so that you can complete everything that you need to do. As a follow-up to completing those quarterly reports, which are summarizing all of the EQ initiatives activities that your councils have been doing from January to March, we also have the statewide meeting taking place the following week. And we still, I believe, do have additional funding. Registration is closed for the meeting, but if you perhaps wanted to request additional funds through the GAE, you can do that. Those funds are used to support a per diem, hotel costs, and mileage reimbursement for your infant toddler specialists. If they are already going, but you wanted to request to be able to reimburse that and have not yet reimbursed it, you can. You may contact Eva with questions. She is out of the office, but will be back Monday. Nope, she'll be back May 1st. I apologize. She has a couple of things going on. So she will get back to you if you have any questions. We are very excited for this statewide meeting and excited that we have so many people attending that we haven't seen in quite a while. We're expecting a really large turnout, which is fantastic. As far as the Infant Toddler Specialist Network update, I am in the process of reviewing and awarding the Infant Toddler Specialist credentials that we have asked everyone to reapply for this year as part of our streamlining process. So please do remind your staff who is facilitating and training, they have to reapply for their credential no matter what the expiration date says. I will also be sending out communication that says that. Sometimes it's nice for them to hear this information in more than one place. In order to be an infant toddler specialist and receive your credential, your early childhood professional credential needs to be up to date. And as we are phasing out, we have a handful of people who still have the ECPC 2.0. That will be done in June. So we do need you to be aware and be applying for that ECPC 3.0 so that we can make sure we are all up to date and ahead of the game before it's crunch time in June for the PDIS team. Your trainer credential has to be up to date, and you need to complete at least 6 hours of infant toddler focused professional development. And that is, we're saying, from the last statewide meeting, which was November 2022 until now. We do realize that people are confused and have questions. Please have them contact me so that I can make sure they have the information that they need. The last thing that they need to do is complete an annual reflection on a training that they have done. And that form is also linked in this slide, so they can just click on the link and submit that. I've received about 35 so far of video reflections. I'm double checking to make sure that all of the other criteria have been met, and then I will start awarding. The reason it's important for your infant toddler specialist to stay up to date and to get this credential is that course plans will not be approved until you have approved infant toddler specialists. So if you can share this communication with them, I will also share it on my end, and we should have everybody up to date and going smooth within the next couple of weeks. So that's it. That's all I've got today, unless anybody has any questions. Oh, and I didn't have the chat open. Oh, okay.
I didn't see any chats.
Cool. All right. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Leah. All right. Next, we have Lilith.
Hey, Charlie.
Hello. There you are.
Screen's off because I'm having some internet glitches, and I don't feel great today, so
No worries.
to the world. But hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see so many little tiny circles of people and also bigger squares of people. And so I just hope everyone is having a really good day and in good health. I'm just going to go over really quickly, just like a big overview of the process to move QI spending and coaching from Sugar to Salesforce project that you all know is happening and it's going so well. We are through all of our creation of the environment, basically. So everything has been developed. We're testing, making it go smoothly end to end. What we really want to focus on, or we really want to ask ECCs for help with, is closing out this year in Sugar. I know that we have certain deadlines, and I just want to reiterate that it's a super priority this year, so that we can get everything closed out in Sugar by the end of July like we usually do, and then up and running into the new QI module platform in Salesforce. As the plan is to do all new state fiscal, anything in that new quality improvement module is kind of what we've been calling it. So if you have any questions on that, need overview, a review of timelines, think that anything may be wonky leading up to that, let your QRIS coordinator know, Michelle, Charlie, or myself as soon as you can, just so we can, make sure everything's running smoothly. And as well as making sure everything is reconciled in Sugar for the end of the year. I know that we have identified a few councils that will be helping us test this new form as well. Yes, there will be training, Diane. There will be documentation coming out in just a little bit, and then we will have a few councils, like I said, that we've identified that would like to help with kind of going through complete user testing with Charlie and Michelle and myself. And then after that, I think that documentation plus probably a quick run through on a state TA day would be very helpful. And any other questions that we get that come up that may need a little bit more time, we can definitely schedule some time for that as well. So that is all I have for right now. Charlie, did you want to talk about reviewing allocations, or do you want me to?
I forgot what we were going to say about that.
I think just everyone make sure that you, again, with the year-end closeout, make sure that your programs have utilized their dollars. If they have not, move them to programs that will. Coaching hours, same situation. If people are not basically wrapping up their spending and getting everything tied up in a neat little bow, then definitely need to make sure that they are, and that those dollars are getting to where they need to go to be spent. If you want help with that or support, or you want a reminder of what the correct report is in the current Sugar system, I'm happy to provide that. I'll probably link it in the agenda as well, but just really going back to making sure that closing out the year and doing it as seamlessly as possible, like all things that you do, is definitely one of your priorities. So just really thankful that we have your council's support, that I know that we always tell you, hey, this deadline and this deadline, but just really, really thank you so much. And it's because of you guys that we get this work done. So I think that's it, unless Charlie, you had anything to add.
Just to kind of recap the timeline. So we are working right now on testing. That's going to take a couple weeks for us to get in there and test the modules. And then after testing, we'll be coming up with training materials and putting together some like walkthroughs, video walkthroughs, all of that good stuff. So we're hoping after we complete testing in the next 2 weeks, we'll be able to get that stuff out, likely by the end of May, and June is really when we can get in there and start, like you guys can start getting into the new system and kind of start messing around in there while it's still kind of no stakes because it's still June. Does that sounds about right, Lilith? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. All right, Lisa.
Okay. Just when you're talking about closing out, meaning we're clean with what has happened this fiscal year, so that the E&E grants are the ones that are going to carry over, and you'll just move whatever is remaining at that point into the new system. Is that what you'll do with E&E?
Yes.
Yes.
That one's a little bit of a different beast. But definitely anything ESQI, TSQI related, Colorado Shines related, we'll need to close those out And then for E&E, we will definitely present a plan for the timeline on that as well to help facilitate that.
Yes, and then don't worry, it's not like on July 31st, the system's getting cut off and we can't access it. We'll still have access to the system, I think, through at least the end of August. So we'll have some time to make sure that that transition goes smoothly and that, that there aren't a bunch of blank E&E applications in the new QIM, which I'm calling Kim because it's kind of cute. But.
It is cute. Kristen, I think you had your hand raised.
Actually, Lisa kind of asked that question, and I know I emailed you the other day, Lilith, about that same thing. I'm just so afraid to have open QI requests in the system as we make that transition, but it sounds like that's going to be okay.
Yes, yes. Everyone that's on this call, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, hold it,
Thanks.
let it out. With transitions, I'm sure everyone else experiences something similar. My anxiety gets we do this every day. We constantly figure out a way to do it. And so, we've built the system, which is, more baseline. And if there's any little things that pop up, I'm very confident that we can get them resolved or that we can work through them or we all will support each other through this process. So, feel free to just let us know when you have these questions, but also, taking that other approach to it to say, okay, this might be kind of a bumpy ride, but everything always is. And so, and it could be, it will be a really great new way to do this and really good reporting measures to come out of it. So I'm very, very hopeful and excited. And I'm telling my anxious self, with all new things, to just chill.
Yes. Yeah.
Stacy, yes, that's very, very good point. Consolidating systems so that we're not working in 700 different ones. Because I don't know about you, but that's too many.
Yeah. This is, in the long run, this is going to be wonderful. And don't worry, we'll be right there next to you, exploring the new system and getting our hands dirty too. We'll be there to support. We're happy to do some extra like one-on-one TA times, or if we need to meet independently for the first time we submit a requisition, just kind of walk through that together, whatever it may be. We're not going to throw you to the wolves. We'll be there with you. So yes, we're excited. We're nervous and we know it's gonna, like Liz said, it could be a little bumpy ride, but we know we're gonna get through it. So yes, we are definitely going to be doing some training.
Yes, we want to do end-to-end testing so that we can properly perform that training, so that we're not hitting silly little things that maybe could have been easily taken care of but were missed. So yeah, we're just trying to get a really clean product, basically a really clean system, a really user-friendly, usable system that like I said, it's new and it'll take some getting used to. And those councils should be hearing from us shortly that have identified that they want to be part of the testing. And keep your mind open as you test. And I think that's all I have. If anyone has any other questions, concerns, comments. More breathing is good too.
Any foreseen delays in QI application opening? Not as of this moment. That does bring up something that we maybe want to mention. And I think I've been talking about this like with my council check-ins, but the one difference between this year and other years is going to be that our minor improvement grant is not going to be a first come, first served grant this year, just due to the fact that we didn't have enough funding last year or this past fiscal year to cover all of the requests that folks wanted. So the application is still going to open on July 1st for the minor improvement grant, but we are not going to be like awarding them as they come in like we've done in years past. We're going to do a review period for those applications. So right now we're working on what that application is going to look like, but really it's going to just be the basics of what you're doing, you know, the impact it's going to have on infants and toddlers in your care, you know, how it's going to affect health and safety, that sort of thing. So we will be giving you more details on that, but I just wanted to kind of give that as a heads up that that process may look a little bit different this year. Yes. So you guys will review the minor improvement application, then submit it to us to review as well. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
very good point. Anyone that has not used a capital improvement, I know that we have stated that it is allowable for programs to apply for it every year. But you know, in this intentional way of looking at it, that everyone can apply, but we also want to really prioritize, you know, anything that's going to expand or help infant toddler care, as well as, you know, any new programs who might have missed that opportunity at any other years that it's been present due to, you know, maybe they were just getting up running and, you know, things like that. So it's basically still the same process, but a little bit more review involved, so that we're being intentional and prioritizing the efforts of programs, again, that are really leaning into that infant toddler care, and any new ones.
Yeah, we definitely want to make it equitable, and that's one of the points that we put on our perspective rubric is if you haven't received it in the past, then we would want to kind of bump you up to a higher priority. Any other questions? I know there were some hands raised that came down. Just stretching. That's what kids would always say in class.
Yeah.
Oh, and I wanted us to wish Lilith a temporary bon voyage. She's going to be out the next 2.5 weeks, I think, on a vacation. So if you are one of Lilith's counsels, Michelle and I are here for you. Just reach out if you need anything, and want to make sure that Lilith can go and enjoy herself, and we can all enjoy the beach vicariously through her.
Thanks, Charlie. Yes.
Yes.
If you've got any questions, thank you, Diane. It's in Hawaii. It's a big island. Just love it there. I will have out of office kind of like directions for who to go to with questions. You know, and if you're really stumped, of course, reach out. Charlie and Michelle always will help. But I've got, you know, good guidance for while I'm gone, as well as I'm fairly certain that everything is pretty wrapped up for, you know, to be okay for the next 2.5 weeks. But if not, I am working tomorrow. I know it's a Friday. I usually don't work Fridays at all, but I am working tomorrow. So if you have any last minute questions, needs, concerns, do let me know by close of business day tomorrow, and I will either fix it or I will get it on the path to being fixed or support. And I think that's all I have.
Any other questions? Any other QRIS folks? Any updates or anything? Nope. Next month, next month we'll really be diving into the re-platform, and yeah, we'll be getting meaty. So
It'll be so much fun, guys and girls. Everyone.
Alrighty, Elaine, I saw you hop on. Hello.
Yes. Hello. All right. Let me get my screen share set up. Hi everyone, my name's Elaine Maskus and I am the PDIS manager at the Department of Early Childhood. I've been presenting quite a bit, so a lot of you all familiar. As you might know, we did a big kind of refresh of the PDIS interface and just what it looks like and how to navigate through it about a month ago. We also put out some new features with that, but we didn't want to overwhelm people with information and change. So we didn't tell anyone about it until this month. But I'm going to share some of the new features that we added with you all today. So I did not do the animation on this correctly. Sorry, everyone. The first update is that we added we expanded the employment types and job roles that are available in the PDIS. So we actually made a new field for employment type. And those are those large buckets of like, are you a center or school-based program staff? Are you a home-based staff? Are you an ECC staff, etc.? So I'll show folks how to get to that and make any updates. Another addition is resume generation. So what anyone can do now is go into their employment page and they'll see a button that says create resume right next to the button to add a new employment. And then this will create a formatted resume with all of the information that folks have in their PDIS profile. The next update is that we added the ability to export the My Employees table so that folks can get their whole staff list as is shown in the PDIS outside of the PDIS into Excel or whatever system and play around with it and do what they need to do. And then the last one that I'll talk about today is the income and benefits survey. So we built this and our plan is to launch it in May and keep the survey open for responses from May to August every year. It's a completely optional survey, and there's 2 pages of questions. We tried to keep it really brief, but it asks about the income and wages that the workforce makes and the different benefits and social services that they might participate in. We're excited to have this included, but we also know that it is sensitive information for folks to be sharing. We put all of the precautions in place so that this information is not going to be available to folks at CDEC to just look at. It's really locked down, so it's only myself and our data analyst that are able to access the data that people put in their income and benefits survey to really make sure that that's secure and safe. But this is kind of, we're hoping that the information that we get from the income and benefits survey can help us better serve the state and the workforce across the state. We all know that the workforce is underpaid. And so by having more insight into how that actually looks and how that's actually distributed across the state, we're hoping will really help us develop targeted resources and understand what's going on a little bit more. So I'm not going to be showing you all the income and benefits survey today, but I will walk through right now the new employment types and job roles, creating a resume, and exporting the My Employees table. So when you log into the PDIS, you'll be on your home dashboard. Let's see. I'm going to answer your question really quick, Stacy. That's a great question. We haven't really built our analysis plan yet, but we definitely can share things in aggregate, and I think that's a great idea. So we don't totally have the plan all laid out because we were working on this first part of just getting it built. But I think that is something that we can definitely discuss, and if we have, yes, we're hoping that this can eliminate duplication. So I'll also be presenting to the ECLC data subcommittee next month about this. We don't want to over survey the workforce to the point where people don't respond anymore. So we are hoping that this can be data that is widely available in a protected and private way. So if anyone is interested in getting aggregate data about their ECC or their region, you can reach out to me, and I will send my email in the chat right now. And just as a timing consideration, know that we likely won't have these analyses ready until at least the winter next year, because we have to build up all of the coding and whatnot. But okay, back to, let's start with expanded employment types. So if you go to your account and click the employment page, you'll see this page. And if you scroll down, you'll be able to see all of the employments that you have added to your profile in the PDIS. If you want to create a new employment record, so you get a new job, or you want to add historical employments or whatever you want, you just click this new button here and a pop-up window will show up. This looks the same as it has, but there's this new field, what is your employment type? So when you drop down this, you'll see the different buckets. So school or center-based provider, home-based provider, consultative support, so that's like coaches, consultants, trainers, whatnot, or ECC and LCO staff, because we know a lot of those folks sit within the councils. Family and home support staff, these are roles like home visitors, family resource center workers, things like that. School age day camp and resident camp, those are the before and after schools, as well as the summer camps can be found there. And then other is kind of the catch-all for roles that didn't quite fit within those other buckets, but we do know they exist in early childhood. So things like nannies or au pairs or things like that. Once you click your employment type, there'll be a new field that pops up. What is your job role? And these job roles are specific to the employment type. So if we scroll down in the school or center-based job roles, you'll see all of those standard licensed center-based care roles. And you can select as many as apply to you. So this is, once you select something, it'll pop up over there. And so you could say, I'm an infant program manager. I'm also the workforce manager. And I'm an early childhood teacher in the infant program. And I do some administration work. So you add as many as you want here. You can just X them out if you click something on accident. If you're looking and you don't see your role represented, it might be that you need to switch the employment type. So if I click a different employment type, the job roles will clear out and I'll get this new list. So these are the roles for consultative support, ECC, or LCO staff. All of the job roles and employment types that are available here, we've gone through with kind of across the department and getting input from everyone. But of course, nothing's ever perfect. So you can definitely use that feedback form that you can find at the bottom. This feedback form right here. If you do have roles that should be added or changed, let us know. And we can kind of get that on the queue to be updated. If you want to add in information into an existing job or an existing employment, that doesn't work. You just click the details button and hopefully this error message doesn't pop up. But if it does, send an email to the help desk and we'll get it figured out. But you'll see that there's now an employment type field that isn't filled in. So you can go in and then select it and add the employment type and job roles to any education or employment records that you already have saved to your PDIS profile through this detail button. Any questions about that? Okay, so the next I want to show you here. Oh, go ahead, Emily.
Hey, Elaine, I also think it's important to note that aggregate data would only be available under like a Colorado Open Records request too, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, not only is it protected within our department, but it's not like a media could request the records and then have it disclosed beyond the aggregate level.
Yes, so it would either need to be a Quora request, in which we would be pretty limited in what we share out because it is personal data, or if you get a data sharing agreement with us that specifies that we're allowed to share data from the PDIS. And so I know Karen Emboden and that team has been working on getting data sharing agreements and MOUs into all of our contracts with the councils. So if that exists, then we can share data that is received at different levels. If it doesn't exist, reach out and we can start getting that set up. Thanks, Emily. Okay, the other new feature on your employment page is create resume. So you see this new button here that says create resume. If you click it, you'll get this pop-up window that asks you what fields you want to include in your resume. The big note here is that we can only put things in your resume that are in your PDIS profile. So if you don't have any education data in your profile or any like past employments on your profile, they're not going to show up here, but you can go in and add whatever you would like to your profile. And so you can select here if you want your education information included. If you don't, you just click that, click this little switch. We can also, the graduation date, you can have that included, or you can just, if you don't want people to know when you graduated, which is completely understandable, you just click this, and then rather than saying like graduated September 2005, it would just say graduated. Employment experience, these are these employment records, so you can include them or not. Credentials and qualifications, you have two options here. Well, I guess three. The first option is that you cannot include that information at all if you don't want it there. Or if you do want it there, you can include just your active credentials and qualifications, things that haven't expired and are currently valid. Or you can include active and historic if you want to show that you previously have held multiple different credentials. So you can only have active or active and historic, but if you do want that historic, you just click this button here and it'll flip. The last piece that is included is professional development. And these are just those hours that you see on your homepage. So kind of the buckets of social, emotional, things like that. But once you have this figured out and set up the way you want it, you click create, and then a new window will pop up with a PDF that has the information from your program or from your profile. So it will have your name, where you're located, and your contact email. Again, all that's in the PDIS. It will have your education information and your employment information, including the hours that you've worked with different children, broken out by age group, the job roles that you've worked with, the job roles that you have selected and the ages that you have selected, as well as the timeline of your employment. I, on my PDIS profile, do not have any credentials or qualifications, so that section isn't showing up. But for those folks that do, there will be another section here called credentials and qualifications that has a bulleted list of the different things that you have held. And then professional development. Mine, again, because I haven't done a ton of professional development directly within the PDIS, it's only showing the completed OPD hours in the past 3 years. If you do have social emotional hours or other things like that, they'll also be included here. And then down at the bottom is just kind of an FYI that this was generated from the PDIS, and some information has been reviewed and verified, but we haven't been able to review and verify everything that will be in here for everyone. Any questions about this? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on this PDIS, this is our own individual PDIS, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then the employer, can they see this information under workforce when you click on their name, or if this is just for our own personal use?
So this feature of creating a resume is just for your own use. But that was a great segue into the next point.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, that's perfect.
Okay.
So to see your own employment information and all of that, you go to My Account Employment and you'll be on this page. If you are someone who manages the staff for your program, you'll also see a My Employees page at the top of in your top menu. If you believe that you should have this My Employees view and you don't, you can reach out to the help desk and they'll get you the right, they'll get it all figured out. But if you go to the My Employees page, you'll see it looks fairly the same. You select the programs that you have employment at and that you have the right permissions for. And then you click and the table will populate. If you do want to see information on any one of your staff, you can click these detailed buttons and they will show you that same information, just displayed a little differently. So you can still see the ages that each staff has selected that they work with, the job roles that they've selected, hire date, end date, all these fields. And some of them you can update, like you could add an end date if someone has left your program and things like that. As well as you can see the list of credentials and qualifications that each employee holds. But we also know if you're trying to get a look at across your entire staff, it's tedious and not the most user-friendly to click into each of these detailed pop-ups, look at the right field for the staff, and then go to the next one. So we've also built this export to Excel file. So if you click this, you'll get however downloads show up. It'll download a table called PDIS Employees Table Export, and it looks like this. So it will have all of the staff that are on this page here, but in an Excel file, so you can quickly look across your staff at some important information. So you get the name, the job roles that they have selected, their hire date, end date, verification status. So that's whether the employment has been verified and you or someone else at the program has gone in and said, yes, this person works here, or no, this person doesn't. Ages served, hours worked per week, employee credentials, employee qualifications, and then this breakdown of verified experience within each age group. So that is how you see it for your staff, Brenda, if that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much. That's great. That's wonderful. Thanks.
Great. Any other questions about this? Okay, I think, yes, those were the things I wanted to share with you all today. And so just on the last note, we just want to keep sharing that we have this PDIS request form. It's linked here, and I'll send these slides to Charlie, so you'll be able to access it here. But the easiest way to get to it is just to scroll to the bottom of whatever PDIS page you're on, and you'll see it in the footer. That's all I got for you guys today. Are there any questions? All right, thanks everyone.
Sorry, I have just one question for you.
Of course.
I remember in the last update, there was a how-to guide with this new features. Is that something we'll find with these new features as well?
Yes, so that is a great question. So in the resources menu, there's different landing pages that have all kinds of how-to guides and knowledge articles is what we call just information pages. So in the navigating the PDIS page, you'll see under the general PDIS how-to guides for how to update your employment. It's right here. So if you click on that, the employment type field and job roles is included in this how-to guide. We still need to put together a how-to guide for the resume generation and the exporting employees table. We just haven't gotten to it yet, but we do plan to. So once all of the how-to guides are built, you'll see them here, but we don't have all of them yet. Oh my gosh, I'm not sharing my screen, sorry.
I know where you're talking about, and then navigation, yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
So the update employment is right here. Then you click on it, it'll open the PDF. That is a great question, Stephanie, and a really good point. So when you are adding an employment record, as I think you all know, the system was built initially to help out with licensing requirements in direct care programs. So any employer, when you get to this who is your employer, you can type in any actively licensed program and it'll pop up here. So if I type in ABC, all of the licensed programs that have that in their name will show up here and you can select it. Because this was set up initially to support folks in licensed roles, those are the only things you can select as your employer that are built into the system. If you don't work within a licensed program, you would select the other option. And so if you type in anything, there's always an other option. And then you can write the name of your program. We, of course, want to make the PDIS a supportive and useful resource for the whole workforce, not just folks in direct care. So we're trying to figure out how to build in other, or I guess we're not, it's on the list to figure out how to build in. Like, it would be great if you could select ECLA or any one of the councils or LCOs that you sit within. So it's on the radar. We just haven't gotten to it yet. Great question, Randy. So if you're a council who can verify your employment, so that is something that right now isn't really an option. You could reach out to the help desk and have them verify your employment, but this is also why we want to get these councils and ECLA built in so that folks can get that employment verified right within their profile without having to reach out to us. So it's on the list, but it's a little further out. Any other questions? Okay, thanks everyone.
Did you see you got Randy's question answered? If you're with the council who can verify your employment in PDIS?
Yes,
Okay.
answer that.
Alrighty, cool. Thank you so much, Elaine. Yeah, PDIS is looking great. We're so excited about the updates. The help desk is like back on track. I don't know if any of you have reached out lately, but they're getting back to us, within 24 hours. And we're so impressed with the direction of PDIS, and we're really grateful for the work that you've all put in. Alrighty. Sorry, we're hopping around our agenda a little bit just to accommodate some scheduling needs. So we're going to have Angela hop in next and talk to us about scholarships.
Thanks, Charlie. Should I share my screen or can you go to my slides?
Either way, if it's easier for me to go to your slides, I can.
If you don't mind, that would be great.
No problem.
While I do that, hi everybody. If I haven't met you before, I'm Angela Ben-Zachary. I am the Strategy and System Leadership Unit Manager in the Division of Early Childhood Workforce here at the department. So I'm excited to be here to give you a few updates today. I know I've been getting a couple of inquiries here and there about what scholarship opportunities are continuing now that kind of our stimulus funds are winding down in June and August of this year.
No, it's
I'm getting a
completely,
little bit of
I'm
feedback.
really on
Everyone
this
can
meeting until
make sure they're on
3
mute.
o'clock.
That'd be great.
I kind of just sit here and listen to them. So
okay, can we go to the next slide, Charlie?
Yes.
All right. So with that in mind, I wanted to share with you all of these resources and links just to make sure that, councils have the right information to get out to childcare programs in their localities, and that who you can still reach out to and work with to obtain scholarships for folks within your areas. And of course, the career navigation teams. I wanted everyone to have the right information and most up-to-date stuff directly from us. So the first two on this slide are hard ones to communicate about because these have been some of the widest spread funding opportunities in the state. And because of that, they've also been some of the most expensive opportunities to offer in the state under stimulus funding. And so it was wonderful to be able to support these over the last several years. But our free ECE 1011 and 1031 program and our broad early childhood educator scholarships for certificate and degree programs are going to be winding down this spring, and in a few cases during summer session, the first session of summer at a couple of the colleges. I don't have a direct list of all of those who are going to be able to do that first session of summer just yet, but we're hopeful that we'll be able to at least kind of sneak out some of those names so folks know where to enroll if campuses still have a few available dollars left. But we will have a couple of updates in this space, and or we're sustaining a few other programs that can still help folks access higher education. So this is the hardest one. We are looking at opportunities to partner with our Department of Higher Education partners and to figure out if there's future funding opportunities to bring these back at some point. We also may have at least a small portion of higher education scholarships for certificate and degree programs that we might be able to restart later this fall. So stay tuned. This isn't a final sunset, or I should say it's not a final sunset for scholarships. 1011 and 1031 is going on hiatus until we can find a sustainable funding stream for that in the future. And just to give you all a ballpark, those were the 1011 and 1031 were running between $2 to $2.5 million a year. So that is a major request to keep going. And if you all recall, the Senate Bill 22-213 funding was only a total of $10 million for the fiscal years 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. So it's not a lot of money to spread out across a couple of years, while, as ARPA funding had kind of wound down. So we're juggling a lot of things here and had to make some tough decisions. With that in mind, I also did want to note that what programs are continuing, of course. And so I want to share that our ECE loan forgiveness program will be continuing in 2025 and 2026 at a smaller rate than we've seen in the past couple of years. As folks may have seen and heard, we had a big round that just closed on April 15th, and we had over 4,000 people apply for 600 awards. So just know there's going to be additional opportunities for folks to apply for that. We see that big need to pay down student loan debt. And so again, this is another area where we're going to keep keep funding at a smaller level and continuing to look at additional funding opportunities in the future for loan forgiveness. The Teach Early Childhood Scholarship is one of the ones that folks can continue to work through. I know they're already kind of coming up with a wait list, but we're continuing to look for additional funding sources, even though this is also being funded at a smaller level over the next 2 years. But we do have some funding that will keep moving forward, and that's for certificate and degree programs. Of course, our partners over at EPA can give you all the details about that if you're curious about more information. You can go to the next slide. For our ECE apprenticeships, similar situation. Most of these that are listed here are going to be funded at a smaller level, but we are able to sustain them for at least a little bit longer. Again, our Senate Bill 22-213 funds go through December 2026. So a lot of these are going to be funding the administration and some of the a smaller version of the scholarship funding, but we're hopeful that we're going to be able to work with our partners over at Workforce Development Centers to supplement some of these scholarship opportunities. There's even a liaison position that's going to start later this fall at CDLE that's going to help us understand how to access Workforce Center dollars in a better way, because we know there's been several barriers in the past to partnering with them. So just know that at a systematic level, we're working through some of that to make this kind of a sustainable pathway where we can keep the apprenticeship administration and hopefully some of the stipends going, and maybe offset some of the scholarship dollars from other funding streams. Our CDA scholarship is in a similar space. We're really targeting the administrative component and smaller levels of scholarship dollars. But again, maybe pre-apprenticeship or other opportunities may present themselves to offset some of those training costs in the future. Our teacher peer mentorship program is going to continue. We're really excited that Connie's position was funded in this legislative session, so she'll be able to maintain her training. And we have been able to, again, find a small pot of funding in our $22,213 to continue the stipends. So we are going to likely be wrapping up the current rounds and then launching with this new funding in January of 2025. So there'll be a small probably gap in time period for the training and stipends, but those will be coming back online very soon. Our coaching scholarship that's targeting new coaches, that contract will continue with our partners at ECLA. And then the coaching professional development scholarships that you all have been able to access through your general accounting encumbrance or GIE, again, will continue through June of next year. And then we are supposed to be getting an appropriation extended for that ongoing. So we just need to wait for that after June of 2025. You can go to the next slide. Outside of the scholarship bucket, we have several programs that I thought folks might be interested in and just understanding the scope and, again, kind of funding streams, sunset opportunities that might be coming up. So for the early childhood professional credential, the tax credit, tied to the professional credential for ECE educators, that is through tax year 2025. So that will likely come up for renewal next legislative session. I don't know all of the opportunities for that, but just wanted to put that on your radar that it will be available again this tax year and next tax year. And so for next tax year, that means folks would be applying for it in spring of 2026 and their taxes backwards for that 2025 calendar year. The substitute fund, since we were just getting that kicked off in January of this year, we're able to sustain that again through December 2026. And we're hopeful that we'll find additional funding streams, perhaps universal preschool or other opportunities to partner with different funding streams to continue that, because subsidizing the substitute placement agency's abilities to place subs in programs has been, I think, a really big opportunity for programs in just these last 3 months. And we're hopeful that this will help us continue to grow that substitute workforce. From there, childcare business training. This is, again, our partnership with the Small Business Development Center Network with our partners at the Office of Economic Development and International Trade. Sorry, all of these names are so long, but this will be maintained. This is an ongoing funding stream that was designated in this legislative session. So we're really excited to move forward with that. And then last but not least, of course, we have additional PDAS coursework that will be developed. We have ongoing funding streams and some larger stimulus investments to make sure that we're getting some of our older trainings up to date so that then we can use our ongoing funding streams to translate them into additional languages. So tons of pipeline work there. And then one other that I wanted to, again, just highlight for folks from a programmatic perspective, that the FFN training programs contract between CDEC and our intermediary partner was just signed last month, which means the third-party, kind of quote, third-party training partners, which could be councils and other nonprofit partners across the state, that RFP is expected this summer. So funding, if you all are interested in maintaining or expanding your trainings out to FFN networks in your communities, that funding opportunity will come live this summer, and that will be available for multiple years through December 2026. So a ton going on within CDEC's portfolios. I also wanted to go to the last slide here and share with you all a couple of partnership opportunities outside of our funding streams, and just remind you, again, where some of our funding may be winding down, there are still some existing funding streams in other partner spaces that folks can continue to access for early childhood educator, professional development, and higher education scholarships. So I just want to note that the Career Advanced Colorado program is continuing through June of next year. And this is for community college coursework across kind of the ECE space, whether it's a certificate or degree program. So again, where our 101 and 103 dollars might be going away, folks might be able to still fund some of that through this scholarship program. Back to Work might be winding down. They don't have an end date published, but I just wanted to share that this is a potential funding stream that folks should keep their eye on, similarly to Finish What You Started in Second Chance Scholarship. So those are all Department of Higher Ed funding streams. I put all the links here because they often publish more opportunities to apply for these funds as intermediaries, and or they might be distributed directly through the colleges. And then again, we'll keep all of this updated on PDIS, which is our last link there, because there's, I think, even 1 or 2 more scholarships that have been added since I last checked. So this was a lot. I went really fast, but there's a ton. Yes, thank you, Stephanie. Specifically, ECLA was a funding partner for Back to Work, and that grant was, I believe, 3 years originally and is winding down this year. So that's one, again, that we want to keep an eye on and see if there's the ability for folks to apply again as funder or as new kind of funding targets are identified for them. And again, these are all just links as resources for now. I don't know that any of these are guaranteed, but just want to make sure that you have as many resources as possible to support the workforce, and just know that you can contact me. You can go one more slide, Charlie. If you have any questions and or if you want me to update some of these links, or you want to network with some folks in some of these other funding streams, I'd be happy to have conversations offline. That's all I have for you today. I just wanted to say I appreciate all that you do. And I look forward to hearing from you if you have questions.
You, Angela. Stephanie just put in the chat here that ECLA's Back to Work funding has ended. And then there's a quick question here. Is the Career Advance update new? Our local community college is telling us they'll have limited CA funds for fall 25. And they'll probably be out of funds by spring 25.
Yeah, so that's correct. So they are scheduled to wind down. When I say June of 2025, that may mean that some of the programs are going to wind down by spring of 25 rather than summer session 25, just because the way our fiscal year hits with the school year. But yes, each school did have autonomy on how and when to spend those funds. So it might be different from school to school. If your local school may not have as many funds available, you may want to reach out to some other community colleges and see if there's additional funding available. Again, not guaranteed. That one was outside of our purview, and I know they had made some decisions on letting the schools choose which programs to emphasize over others, because there were, I think, 7 career paths that were named under that one. So it's, you know, it's all still kind of rolling out, even though we're a year in, and that information might be different from school to school. Sorry, I don't have a more clear or helpful update on that.
Anything else?
All right, thanks for
Thank
having
you,
me.
Angela. Cool. You're now going to jump to Emily Wengrovius.
Hi, everyone. Just give me a second to share my screen. I hope everyone's having a great day.
We love the glasses. I'm speaking for everybody.
Thanks. I mean, thanks. And it means a lot to me that you like them too, Charlie. So, okay. I'm picking that one and we're going to share it. And you're going to see this and you're going to say, Emily, why are you putting 2 ladies on a roller coaster as your first slide? What are we in for? So I hope you like roller coasters, because remember, E&E, we're here to serve, because we always get to update things. So without much further ado, I'll take you to where we stand now. Between our last time that we met and today, we were able to approve 10 more applications. So we have about 1.2 million left to award, but put an asterisk there because I'm going to have an update for you in just a moment. And so where we're at this point with E&E applications for the ones that are under review is it feels to Danielle and I like you all councils are doing awesome work getting the documentation and the things together for them. And a lot of these applications that are on hold are in fact that are under review are kind of in this like holding pattern. And so given that information, coupled with we're going to have some additional funds put into the GAE, because remember that really fun exercise y'all had to do while I was on vacation in March around cost projection and E&E spending? Well, we realized we have a lot of administrative savings within this program because y'all, I'm excellent and I'm inexpensive. So it's not just me, but we were able to have a lot of administrative savings in the department. So we're going to be able to add some more funding to the GAE to be able to award more programs. So we want to start reviewing the on-hold applications, and we really want this to be a prioritized review, not just for us, but also for you, because we have a lot of money. If we go back to this slide, we have over almost $3.4 million of applications that are on hold. So I don't have a final amount for the GAE of how much will be added, and as soon as I do, I'll be sure to share it with y'all. So I just want you to know that, and that amount also will be added at the second round of contract amendments. Okay, so if you've already signed your contract for amendment for this round, don't worry about it. We'll add it once we know that number. So there are several reasons a program may be on hold. One that's not on this bullet pointed list is we did put on hold some applications where they are adding infant toddler slots, but the construction hadn't started or wasn't far enough along for measuring. So those applications, if they have a capital project that are in progress and licensing, can do a slot estimate, and you all have that documentation you need, which means we've got permits, we've got licensure and all of that. Those ones that would be an example of one we'd want to prioritize for review for an application on hold. And Julia, just give me a second to get through this and then I'll answer your question. The other ones that we're prioritizing are preschool only slots that have not received E&E before, either as the license or as a governing body. And they're not in the adverse licensing process. So I have an example here of something that would be low-hanging fruit. So you have a program that's already added preschool slots for this school year, full-time slots. The license change has already gone through, so we've met that licensing criteria. They haven't had that E&E access to that E&E grant before, and they just need reimbursement or other things for, you work out a budget with them and get the documentation for that. So this would be an example for you all to think of, like, this would be one that would be hopefully pretty straightforward for you as a council from a budget and documentation place. And then obviously because the licensing portion is already met, it's less complicated. So that is kind of what we're planning to do. Danielle and I are working on putting together a trustee, hold on, let me go back, a trustee spreadsheet of all the applications on hold, and it includes a column of yes, no, whether to prioritize and notes. So for those of you, Danielle and I are going to try to go through that and figure out the really obvious, like, this program's received E&E, so no, and make that note for you. And then the ones that don't have an obvious disqualifying, like, I hate to say disqualifying, but non-prioritized factor, we can figure out how close we are with those. So I created a little bit.ly because you guys that have filled out the form to let us know it's ready for review, that website address is really long. So if you copy this down and type it in, you can access the form, or you can go to one of my emails and look in my signature block and get it that way. I'm hoping that Danielle and I can send out the spreadsheet with the breakdown next week. So please be patient with us. We'll get it to you as soon as possible. That doesn't mean you have to wait till we get it to you. If you know of ones that I'm like, ooh, I think this one would be easy, let us know when it's ready for us to review and you think the documentation is complete. All right, Julia, talk to me, goose.
Oh, I just had a quick question. When you're talking about these new things, if we're going through and getting our on hold people, making sure they have everything, are the deadlines the same? Are they still going to have to spend by September 2024?
So the deadline, so the contracts we're going through now, Julia, are extending spend down through 2026. September 2026. We haven't updated the award email that Danielle and I send you guys yet because the contract amendments haven't gone through. But they will have the same spend down period through September 30th, 2026.
And that's
Which
for
also,
the GAE and the base funding?
yes. Yes.
And is the in it, and so I saw your comment earlier, is the E&E funding moving to Salesforce as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
we'll all be in Salesforce. We'll all be one happy Salesforce family.
I'm so excited.
And I know it'll be exciting, and change is scary for all of us too. And I think it'll be good in the long run, like Charlie said. We're trying to make it so that it's easy for everyone, you know, and easy, you know, is a relative term, let's say, right? But I know Lilith has put a lot of work into it. And with the Salesforce piece too, I've worked with the guys and the Deloitte team as well on the E&E part of it. So we're really trying to make sure that the gift that is the E&E program and all the nuances and fun that go into it are incorporated when we do that transition over. So, but you shouldn't have, you know, like, I know what's funky about E&E is it doesn't follow the state fiscal year and all of that. And we shouldn't, we're hoping, you know, we're planning on it being just a nice warm knife through butter, but we all know how it goes too, right? But I can tell you that a lot of thought and intentionality has gone into all of this for you, for all of us. So yeah, Julia, tell me.
I didn't mean to. I thought I was hitting I was going to say thanks, like a thumbs up.
You are so welcome. It's good to hear your voice. I miss your face too. Okay. So we'll have to have donuts or something sometime again. Okay. So I also want to make sure that you all know that we have office hours still. So Becca Joe, you've got one on hold. You might just have to come back and see us. But Danielle and I are more than happy to meet with you. If you want to go through your list with us together outside of office hours, you know, you can schedule time with me. There's something in my signature block for that, and I can do that as well. So we can figure out a way to make this reviewing your on hold ones as painless for you as possible. And also, if you do have programs that happen to be under review, doesn't mean you have to stop working on them. It's just we feel like we're at a point with a lot of these programs where we're just waiting on stuff, or it's not looking likely that it's going to actually happen for them. Okay. Contract update, you guys. I just want to say we have 2 fully executed E&E contracts. Okay. So this is really exciting for the contract amendments. They're coming through. I know some of you have asked us to push them through as quickly as possible. We have asked our contracts team to do that. And so just stand by, watch your inbox, you know, make sure you're comfortable with what's in there. Don't forget about that updated subrecipient monitoring and performance assessment. If you are one of the contracts that was amended, that's not terminating the contract because you don't have any E&E programs. So yeah. So they're just cruising. We're figuring it out as we go. And then y'all know we have office hours. Let me know if you want to be on or off that invite. I'd love to add you and see you. And if you are tired of getting E&E office hour reminders on your calendar, I'm also will not take it personally if you don't want to have this time held on your calendar every week for probably the rest of time the way it's going, y'all. So which is fine with me because this anchors my week and I love being with you. The other thing I want to point out while I'm thinking of it with these on hold sites is RTA vendor Rick is awesome. And if you have a big capital project that you're working on, like what is the documentation I should even be asking for, you all can email him directly. Email that TA vendor, it's Thrive Taco, Thrive TA Colorado at Thrive. Well, I'll figure it out and send it to you guys because I don't want to give you the wrong email, but make sure you utilize them. And if you need me to forward it to Rick, I can, or Danielle, we can forward it to him too, because I think he can take a lot of the burden off you all of like, wait, what am I supposed to be asking for? So you have a nice succinct list if it is a bigger capital project. So yeah, Thrive Taco at thrivecb.org. Kristen Sparkman's got my back. So I don't think it was too much information. I tried to not speak too fast, and I want to make sure if you have questions, I'm here for it. Let me know. Are there any ones that are outstanding at this moment? Okay. Well, I hope you all have a beautiful day. Come see me in office hours. If you don't want to, if you can't do office hours, put some time on my calendar. I'd love to talk with you. And yeah, I'm here. See y'all. Have a great week.
Awesome. Thank you, Emily. And please send a PowerPoint my way. All right, cool. We have our final presenter, Alyssa.
Awesome. Hi, y'all. If you don't know me, my name is Alyssa, and I am the Employer-Based Child Care Grant Program Manager here at CDEC. Good to be here with you all today. It's been a while, but I am really excited to announce that our 5th round of the EBCC Employer-Based Child Care Grant application should be opening next week, which is a little wild. We're now in the CDEC procurement process. And so it's going to be the process will be slightly different than it was before, but the application itself should be almost exactly the same as it was in the last round. We made some minor changes for clarity, hopefully. But other than that, all the applications we require and everything is the same. So I'm going to link in the agenda and chat in the FAQ document for you all to reference and share about who is eligible for this grant, which is nonprofit, for-profit, and government entities who are renovating, retrofitting, or building a child care center near their site for their employees. Missed the purpose of the grant. I'm so sorry. But the maximum grant amount will be $800,000. Again, the same as it was for rounds 3 and 4, if you were here for those application processes. And the application this time, what's going to be different is that it will be opening next week, and it will be open all the way through June 14th. So that's almost a month and a half that folks will have to reference the application, put together their application packets, and submit those. And sorry, my door is open and it's very squeaky. The official question period will also be open until almost the end of May, and we still have our technical assistance provider, Epic, whose email you can find at the bottom of the FAQ, who potential applicants can reach out to with any questions they might have about the grant, including whether or not they are eligible. All right, what questions might you all have? Just hearing that brief overview of our employer-based child care grant that's going to be opening soon. Thank you so much, Diane. We do expect that this will be the last round, at least for the remainder of the funding that we currently have, which is the SLFRF federal funds. So we are anticipating that we will award the remainder of those funds, and folks will have until September of 2026 to spend those down. The application will be open until June 14th, so about a month and a half. And the application will be posted to the vendor self-service website, and there is a link to that in the FAQ that I just dropped in the chat. Great questions, everyone. Okay, I have one more quick update for you all. If you have any more questions about the employer-based childcare grant, feel free to drop those in the chat for the rest of our meeting or reach out to me. My email is in the agenda. Thank you all so much for your engagement with the Facility Needs Assessment Survey. Community Development Institute, which is the organization that we're working with to complete that, has come to state TA days for the past 2 months, I believe, but they couldn't be here today, and they just wanted to pass along the message that they are so grateful to you all for answering the phone when they call and sharing out the link to the survey to providers in your area. We are currently at about an 18% completion rate for the survey. So please just keep sharing and encouraging folks to complete that if it comes up. And I wanted to update and let you all know that next Friday is going to be when the survey closes. So the Facility Needs Assessment Survey will be closing on Friday, May 3rd at the end of the day. All right. Any questions about the Facility Needs Assessment that I can try to answer for you all? Okay, great. Well, please reach out if you have any questions about either employer-based childcare or the Facility Needs Assessment Survey, and I can get you in touch with the right people there. And thank you all for your time today.
Thank you, Alyssa. I believe you were our final presenter. Any other general questions, comments for the good of our order? All right. Well, enjoy this lovely spring weather for 30 minutes, and I'm looking forward to meeting next month in May. Thank you all for the wonderful work that you continue to do. We really, really appreciate you. Have a good one.